This is the League of the Genuine Show, the show that discusses the important but often ignored subjects of counterfeits, substandard, be it products or services. Again, we continue our programming with an exciting guest. This time, we are going to move away from health and fitness to food safety. So to join me in the discussion is Dr. Gabriel Kasozi. He's a senior lecturer from the Department of Chemistry at Makerere University here in Kampala, and he is a food safety specialist. He is also a food processing expert, or you're a manufacturer of food. Doctor, you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
We have interacted several times on the subject of counterfeits, and I know that you have a penchant for food fraud. So we're super excited to have you on the show to give us some information as consumers, as regulators, about this sensitive subject of food and food fraud. I'll start by asking you, as somebody who is processing food, can you just help us to understand what food fraud is and whether food fraud is counterfeiting?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Muwema. When we talk about food fraud, it involves a couple of practices. One of them could be substitution of lower grade materials. It could be using materials that are of substandard grade. You could be adding there things that are illegal in the food, or you could be producing food that is potentially dangerous for consumption. And there is a slight difference between what we call food crime and food fraud. Usually food fraud is economically driven, and people are trying to benefit out of their practices to make a little bit more money. In other words, you put down the cost of your product in production costs so that you can maximize the profit. But when it involves death, it involves people getting extremely sick, then it becomes what is defined as food crime, because you'll end up in jail. So in a nutshell, when you substitute, you omit, you add there illicit materials for purposes of cutting, making shortcuts, then that can
become a crime.
No, it becomes a crime when there is death or extreme sickness. But if I sell you tap water and it is labeled, for instance, Rwenzori, when in actual sense this is just plain tap water, you may not get sick, but I'm doing that to make some money. That's fraud.
So is food fraud the same as food counterfeiting in your view?
No.
Or faking?
No, faking. Usually a fake is manufactured by somebody else. Let's say, again, that's an example that I've just given you, that you have a product which is selling on the market, and another person comes and produces that in their kitchen and sells it on the market to make money. Now that is faking. That's producing a counterfeit.
But which is fraudulent also.
It's also fraudulent in a way.
In some way.
But in terms of definition, we call that counterfeit. But when it comes to, I could be the manufacturer myself, and I am fraudulently putting food on the market that does not meet human health standards by substituting, adding there additives that are not permitted. All this is considered fraud.
When you were speaking, you were saying that one of the motivations for food fraud is profit.
Yes.
There's a case we are doing. The Anti-Counterfeit Network went to court over the fake food which was supplied to the Karamojongs, I think 3 years ago now, and some people died. The food was supplied by the World Food Program. Would you consider that food crime or food fraud?
Like I said, when
Because there was no profit motive. This was relief.
When there is death involved, then it is considered. These are operational definitions. That is considered food crime. Okay, but if I substitute, for instance, I give you a product, or I give you milk, which is laced with the plenty of water. Water is not going to kill you, but you are not paying for water. You are paying for milk, but in the process you are getting the water added. That is what is defined as fraud. But the moment you give me water which contains chemicals that can make me sick or give me cancer, and then if I can trace back the source of the sickness to you, then I'll take you to court, and that becomes food crime. Because if I get extremely sick, or if I die because of consuming product A, then
that misrepresents what it is.
Yes.
In your view, do we have a big problem of food fraud?
Yes, there are a variety of products.
Is it a minor problem? Is it something people need to pay attention about, seeing as you are a food safety specialist?
Well, like I said in the beginning, when you talk about economics, with your hard-earned money, if you are buying an egg, you need an egg, not a fake egg. If you go to buy rice and somebody sells to you plastic rice and you eat it thinking you are eating rice, there isn't anything you as a consumer benefiting from plastic rice, because your system is used to digesting rice that
then it's getting something different.
God created into the garden, but meanwhile you are eating some pellets that are made to look like rice, taste like rice. I think in a nutshell, that is not
problem.
What you intended to buy. However, if you buy a product and it is nicely labeled that this is plastic rice and it is cheaper,
but they won't label, they won't tell you it's plastic rice.
That is fraud then. That's when fraud comes in.
They will say this is rice, it is good, nice aroma.
Fine. If you want it that way, tell us that this is the alternative. For instance, I've seen on the market, you find there molasses being sold on the market.
Sukari Guru.
Sukari Guru, labeled as vegan honey.
Molasses?
Yes.
Being labeled as vegan honey.
Vegan honey. Now, you go to the supermarket and you say, okay, I don't want to eat the processed sugar, but this molasses will serve my purpose. And you use that to sweeten your sugar. It's nicely labeled molasses, and you buy molasses, not honey.
That is okay.
That is okay.
But
the problem is selling molasses as
honey.
That is fraud.
And according to you, what do you think is the effect of this misrepresentation? Selling one food as something that it is not. Is it having serious effects?
It depends
that the public needs to pay attention to.
It depends on what you have removed or what you have added to.
For example, I'll tell you, among the most faked products, olive oil, milk, honey, juices, coffee, meat products, all those are faked. Can you pick any one of them which you're comfortable to speak about? If you take fake honey or fake milk or fake this, from your experience, it has dangers which you could describe.
Yes, let's take an example. Let's even begin going global. Then we can scale it down to.
Can you talk about olive oil, for example?
Yes,
do we have fake olive oil? How is it faked?
There are reports, if you read on online into the newspapers, and these are reputable news stores in the UK, in the United States, and they can clearly tell you that 85% of the olive oil on the market is actually not olive oil. Now,
on the market in Africa or in the world?
Globally.
85% of the olive oil
is fake. Is fake.
How do you mean?
I mean, there are countries that are known for doing these things. So they manufacture tons and tons of olive oil. They know the right color, how it should look like, and very nice labeling. And then it enters through countries like Morocco and Algeria. Now it is put on small boats.
There are countries in Southeast
ends
Asia.
up in Asia.
I will be specific.
Yes.
I know that it comes from some parts of Asia.
Yes. And then it ends up in Europe, and then once it ends up in Europe, then its authenticity is Italy. So you begin exporting it to the rest of the world.
It enters North Africa.
Yes.
Is shipped into Europe, maybe
Because
Italy.
I was with some experts, FAO, and an FAO
Food and
meeting,
Agriculture
yes,
Organization.
in 2019. And these are like the gatekeepers of the European Union. And they tell you stories of things that are happening, things that they intercept, you know.
So they intercept fake olive oil.
Yes, as
coming
it is
out
crossing
of
from
North Africa
to
getting
enter
into
Italy. But once
Europe,
it enters Italy,
it gets customs.
then it becomes a
European product.
an Italian product. Then it is transported around the world as genuine olive oil. Because like I told you, you are buying something cheaper, but you are paying premium price. So if you are buying olive oil for purposes of health, and you end up with a product that is of a lower quality.
Doctor, tell us. So this fake olive oil, okay, it may not be the real olive oil, but it's not harmful maybe. What do they put in that fake olive oil?
What do they put in that fake olive oil?
What are the ingredients?
I mean, you are probably buying what we call sunflower oil with some little food color to make it look like green or light green, or the color that attracts you to buy this. Now, if you are saying that, okay, I'm buying olive oil because it has lower trans fat levels, and then you are taking, let's say, sunflower oil and it has higher trans fat levels, then you are endangering the consumer's life, because without them knowing, they are taking higher levels than they would take.
They put it on the vegetables.
Yes,
so they
and
consume,
yet they are paying more money. Now, that is where fraud comes in. But remember, we defined this as economically motivated. So this fraudster who is selling fake things doesn't know that they are killing people. For instance, if you are diabetic and somebody is selling to you syrup, sugar syrup,
as honey,
and the doctor has told you do not consume sugar anymore. If you want, you can take honey.
Natural sugar.
You come somewhere and buy honey, but in the process you are buying just
because you
syrup.
see, doctor,
so you are killing somebody without you knowing.
It's even possible that the increased cases of diabetes, the different types, could actually be driven by the people styling up. I'm off sugar. You hear people, I do honey. Everybody is doing honey. And this could actually be translating into more diabetes. That's what you're saying.
It's possible, yes. It's possible, depending on the consumption of, I mean, we all have predispositions to diseases, but depending on what exactly you consume. But some people try to say, okay, let me try to live a healthy life. And they want to pay for that healthy lifestyle, okay? By, let's say, buying olive oil, by buying honey, but they know where sugar is. So why do you now come and sell them sugar syrup when they intended to buy?
But as a food safety specialist, whose problem do you think it is? Is it the consumer who is looking out for the honey, or you, the processors, who are manufacturing the honey and putting it on the market? Where does the fault line fall most?
Of course, it falls on the manufacturer. A manufacturer needs to utilize what we call best practices in manufacturing. And fortunately, there is the Uganda National Bureau of Standards. And the Uganda National Bureau of Standards should
But is it doing its work sufficiently?
I would say yes, because I am a manufacturer and they have been to my premise, and it's not a straight line that you get a permit. But of course, there could be some products that are on the market because they meet the minimum standards but may actually have adverse health effects, because a standard is a standard. They'll tell you it shouldn't have mold, it shouldn't have let's say this level of let's say pH, but the rest of the things that are there may actually be of health detriments, and the standard does not cater for certain things, and you need to understand how the standards work and cut you and be some slack. But at
I
least
think there's an issue with the enforcement. We have maybe tens of, maybe even hundreds of standards. The issue appears to be
in that case, then UNBS
enforcement.
needs to increase surveillance on the market to make sure that the product they certified meets the minimum standard, because if it doesn't meet the minimum standard and on the
Then
market,
that's a
it may cause adverse health effects to the consumer.
public. Doctor, we need to take a break and come back for the second segment of our discussion. We shall be talking to you, Doctor, as a processor of food. You'll be telling us some of the foods you process, and then we continue from there. We're back with the second segment of our conversation here with Dr. Gabriel Kasozi. He's a food safety specialist. He's a chemist, but he's also a food processor. And we are here to find out, Doctor, what is it you process? You carried some products. If maybe you could show us what it is that you're doing. We are on a big search for genuine products, because these days you go on the market, you're not sure what it is that you are buying. So, okay. So maybe you take us through. This looks like, what is this?
This is a yogurt. But
This is yogurt.
yes, I would like to say this is not your ordinary yogurt, because this is a whole new level. Like, you have a computer versus a calculator. So
Okay, it is called probiotic
yogurt, yes.
29 grams protein. It also has pure coffee.
Pure coffee from Bugisu in Mbale, up
This
there in Buginyanya.
has coffee from Bugisu.
Yes.
So why
And
is this is this different from the other yogurt?
First and foremost, if you scan on the market, you are not going to find yogurt flavored with coffee, except this.
I don't like coffee. I become hyper when I take it.
Very good. This is just flavor. It's not the cappuccino coffee that you take and you become hyper. So a flavor, by the time you get reactions you get from taking cappuccino, you probably have taken a whole jerrycan. And I don't see you taking the whole
No, I
jerrycan.
cannot. So why is
at once.
this? First of all, do we have fake yogurt on the market?
I can say we may be having substandard yogurt, but not fake yogurt.
Substandard.
Yes.
What is substandard yogurt?
Well, the consumer will tell you from the test, and then they'll tell you, I don't like that product. They may not be able to pinpoint where the problem is, but
How is substandard or fake yogurt made? Like, they do what to it, or they don't do what?
the ingredients that you put in.
Because it's
First
just
of
milk.
all, no. Yogurt is not milk to begin with.
Yogurt is not milk.
It's a byproduct of milk. And I've had many people telling you, oh, I don't take milk products because of lactose intolerant. Now, if yogurt has gone through the complete fermentation process, you get
Wait,
rid of
what is the base? the best for yogurt?
it's milk.
Yeah, so why do
But
you
so
say
you
that?
can be intolerant to milk, but not intolerant to yogurt. In fact, I have had so many people telling me that, and I challenge them. I tell them, if you're bold enough, test this yogurt. If it makes you sick, I'll take you to hospital. And they are now my ardent.
And they don't take milk.
Yes, and they are now my ardent customers. Because you need to understand the science, how yogurt is made. Okay? If you are lactogen intolerance, that lactogen is converted into lactic acid, and that's what gives the yogurt that taste, differentiates it from the milk. So if you have completed the fermentation process, then this milk should be free of lactogen.
But just stop there a bit. Doesn't fermentation cause contamination? Because fermentation, I think, involves like rotting. So if something is rotten, it is contaminated and maybe it's fake. Does fermentation contaminate food?
Actually, it's the reverse on the most part, because a lot of foods that you find on the market are actually fermented. It's one very good way of preserving foods.
Fermentation is not decaying.
No,
or degradation.
Because this is intended fermentation. Wines are fermented.
Beer is fermented.
All these things are fermented.
Yogurt is fermented.
As long as,
so that's not food fraud.
No, as long as you are using the right microbes to do the fermentation process that are not going to make people sick, then there is nothing wrong with it.
Okay.
In fact, if you go to like West Africa, all the foods are fermented for a reason, mainly to remove toxins. And
fermentation removes toxins.
Yes, it might add toxins, but it can also remove toxins. Okay? Of course, the science of aflatoxins is very clear.
Tell us about probiotic. Why is this different from the other yogurt that we have on the market?
Okay. To make yogurt, you basically need 3 strains of bacteria. But in this probiotic, you need, in this particular one, we have more than 12 different strains of bifidus and lactobacillus bacteria. Different strains.
That is too technical.
It is a little bit technical.
Okay. Can you just tell us that this probiotic yogurt, first of all, genuine, good product, and maybe you tell us the benefits. Why should I take probiotic? I'm looking for a genuine product, yogurt. Why should I take this? And why shouldn't I take something else? And by the way, can I take some?
Yeah,
now?
please. Let's, if you can find a glass and
you open your thing.
Yes.
We have a meal just now.
Yeah. It's for you.
So after when I take some, I become probiotic now.
As you're pouring some in the glass, let me try and explain. Probiotics is a whole new science that has been with us, and we are beginning to understand how the
it has a seal.
Yeah, you have to put there a plug to make sure that whatever
Can you remove the seal? I don't.
Whatever is inside is actually devoid of being contaminated.
So where do you manufacture this from? In Mbale?
No. Yeah. Right here in Kampala. I have a manufacturer.
Do I shake before? Some things they say shake.
Please, before. But as long as you don't shake your body, shake the.
So I don't shake.
Don't shake. But if you want to shake your body, even fine. It will even taste better.
Okay.
So I was saying that the science of probiotics is something that we have discovered, that you have an army of microbes which change what
are microbes? Bacteria.
They're bacteria, yes.
Okay.
But when you tell somebody that you are drinking bacteria, some people might get a little bit.
So
more.
I'm drinking good bacteria now.
Yes, and that is why they are called pro. Pro means that it is for you. So let me take something that is for me.
Pro. Pro also means professional.
Yes, but in this case, we are looking at a product that is good for your health.
For your gut.
Yes, for your gut.
So this helps to stabilize your system.
Yes. Look at it this way. When you get sick, a lot of times people get sick. And when you get sick, you don't want to go to the hospital. So you take yourself to the pharmacy. And all diseases, they will give you an antibiotic. So when you take an antibiotic, you kill the good bacteria as well as the pathogens that might be disturbing you into your gut system. And eventually, then the stomach does not have the right microbes. And of course, pathogens are
the right bacteria.
Yes, they are going to try and repopulate them. And you get more sick. But when you take a glass of this probiotic yogurt,
it replaces the good bacteria that you flushed out with the medicines.
Every morning, yes, you replenish your gut system. And if you remember very well, there are reasons why microbes tend to grow, because it is a competition. If you remember your microbiology, I don't know whether they did in microbiology.
I stopped biology in P1.
In P1?
Yes.
Then I'll give you a quick run through. I want you to take your time and find out how they found out penicillin. It was actually found out by mistake. By killing the bacteria, then penicillium started growing onto the dish, and eventually, because it was killing off the other microbes. And this fellow looked at this thing and said, how come my bacteria
wiped out
is not growing? Then he found out that the fungus which had grown onto this dish was releasing the penicillium, which was penicillin, which was killing the microbes. And that's how the medicine of penicillin came into action. So if you have bacteria into your gut, very nicely populated in billions, and you have what we call pathogens, because pathogens are the disease-causing organism. They come into your gut. The good bacteria prevents the population of the bad bacteria into your system. So you have an army that protects your gut. So this replenishes your gut system and protects you against pathogens.
So this is something you've been manufacturing for how long?
Since 2017, I would say.
Since 2017?
Yes. And
it's available on the market? Probiotic?
Probiotic is not available on the market because right now I am working on...
you don't sell this to the market?
I've been selling to the market, but...
But you sell to an individual?
I've been... No. Now I'm... I slowed down production because I am going into an expansion phase. But that expansion phase requires me to have a UNBS Q mark, which I'm working on. So very soon, this product will have, I believe, a Q mark, and then I should be able to sell it on.
But your message here is that yogurt, milk, because I've told you milk is one of the most counterfeited products.
Absolutely.
This is a byproduct of milk. And what you're saying is that you can actually have a good product,
yes,
which is not just food, but also has medicinal
value.
It helps to improve your gut. So,
yes,
in other words,
protect you against pathogens. So, in other words, you are like taking medicine.
So, in other words, we should be careful what yogurt we are taking. What is the active ingredient we should look for?
Yes.
What is it? If I go and buy some yogurt, what do I check for? What should be there?
Well, I would say this is still a new product on the market. And the first thing, I don't know whether you have tested the difference between the taste of the normal yogurt and this one.
Yeah, this is different.
It tastes different because every microbe has its own interpretation of how it imparts taste to the yogurt. But in addition to the taste, we try and give you a plethora of microbes that have lived with us for billions of years. They help you for digestion purposes, if you have problems with digestion, and also uptake of nutrients, because symbiotically they live into your gut, break down some complex material and help you to input these nutrients into your system, which you would probably not be able to break down using enzymes.
And so basically the counterfeiter who manufactures this does not even care about that science.
He may not care, he just put their label and say this is probiotic.
Doctor, we're about to take a break, but I need you to talk about, what is this?
This is honey. I'm a beekeeper, and this is my own brand of honey.
What is it called?
It's called Liquid Gold.
Liquid
Gold.
Liquid Gold.
Yes, and
maybe you'll show us. Let me just see these products. Doctor, Liquid Gold, natural honey. We have a lot of honeys on the market, and a lot of them are fake. They're just syrups. So how how sure am I that this is not a syrup?
How
Just take
sure-
us through how you get this product and why you say it's genuine. This
Okay,
Ricky Gold.
the
What
fa-
should genuine honey have?
The first thing that I think I should take this opportunity to educate people out there who are into the processing of honey. Honey must never be heated. So this honey must be just filtered. Just use a cloth, like a cotton cloth, to filter your honey. Squeeze it from the comb. If you have a honey press, very good. And after you have removed it from the comb, just put it through a cloth and allow it to filter, using
You mean
the
people
gravity.
cook the honey or
Yes,
what?
they cook the honey. And once they cook the honey, it begins smelling different. Then you break down its properties that a person buying honey should be benefiting. So I can tell you this honey is raw, untainted, nothing added, nothing removed.
But because for you are doing
I'm trying to do-
subsistence production.
Yes.
But how are you going to do commercial production with a piece of cloth and you squeeze the honey from the comb?
And
mass production is possible with a piece of cloth.
unfortunately,
This is how they may reason. You may need a
unfortunately,
boiler.
No,
too.
no, it is not permitted internationally or even locally. Honey,
You mean all honey they use a cloth to squeeze?
yes, to filter, squeezing. You can use a honey press. A honey press
Is a machine.
It can be manual, yes. It can be manual, or it can be electric, or you can use what we call a centrifuge to separate the honey from the comb. But once that is done, then the honey should be filtered. Surprisingly, genuine honey goes through a filter very fast.
A filter of cloth.
Yes,
And yet it's thick.
yes, but it goes through that cloth seamlessly. Within 2 hours, you should have filtered 100 kgs of honey through that cloth. But if it is containing the contaminants, that's when it gets stuck. For instance, if you harvest your honey with the pollen in it, pollen materials will clog your cloth and then it won't go through. But if you harvest honey which is ready, which is nicely capped, no brood, no pollen, it should go through.
No pesticides.
That's a different topic which we shall discuss, I think, on another show, about pesticides in honey.
In honey.
Yeah, they shouldn't be there in the first
No
place.
syrup.
No syrup. Fortunately, I don't know whether I have told you, I have developed a very nice tool that can distinguish between genuine honey and fake honey. Between a
Doctor,
syrup
you need to stop there.
and-
We are going to take a break and you come back and tell us how to detect fake and genuine honey. We need to take it. We're back with the third and last segment of this League of the Genuine conversation with Dr. Kasozi. He's been good enough to supply us with probiotic yogurt. By the way, somebody who wants probiotic yogurt, how do they contact you?
Well, you can place an order.
Okay. How? What's your number?
The number is 0704 135 339. That number one more time is 0704 135 339. Or you can visit my website, which is ugprobiotics.com. So and get more information about these products.
If you want a genuine stable gut,
yes,
you
this
get
is
probiotic yogurt.
what you need.
It will replace the good bacteria. And when we broke off, you were talking about how this is genuine honey that you process without boiling. You filter using a material like a cloth. But you are also saying that you have developed some technology that can help to identify genuine honey from the fake one.
Yes.
So just talk us through that.
I think before I take you there, I'd like to first of all acknowledge the support from the International Atomic Energy Agency, that's the IAEA, which has an headquarters in Vienna, Austria. And they have supported this work of developing capacity to be able to use what we call field deployable techniques to detect fake products or to detect food fraud. And what we are using is basically what is known as infrared spectroscopy. So if you, because the original method...
Infrared, this one we use for X-ray and what? Something like that?
No. Because there is what we call visible energy, and within the visible light, within the visible range. And then there are those energies that X-rays are considered.
When you say infrared, you put something that beams into the product.
Incidentally, technology has moved on, and that's why I have something this simple. This is the size of a match box, as you can see.
This is the tool for detecting the fake and genuine.
No, but this one can be used as a field deployable tool. This is what we call a micro NR, and there are several of these which we call handheld tools that can be used on the shelf. So you go to the shelf if you're a law enforcement agency and turn on this machine.
Once it has a light?
It has a light.
Turn on and we see.
It is ready. Then I can, it connects via Bluetooth to my phone, and I command it, put it next to a product like this, and tell it to give me a scan. So on my phone, I get a scan. That scan is sent to the database online, and then in real time, it tells me whether this is honey or it is syrup. But that involves me building a database
of this product,
of genuine honey versus everything else. And with the support of the International Atomic Energy Agency, I've been able to develop a model which can distinguish between the three. And
so this thing, once you put it next to the product, what is it checking? Is it checking the labeling? Is it checking the seal that's on the outside? Is it checking the contents inside? What is it checking?
It is checking the contents inside.
So the thing can actually, the
rays
go
sends
inside.
A light that penetrates through the honey. Now every product...
So that's the infrared you're talking of?
Yes, every product has a unique spectra.
A unique composition, in other words?
For us in
our spectrum is a composition.
In our language, you call them spectra. But when you send a signal, because you have a range of whether you are talking about Fourier transform, or if you are using what we call near infrared,
you are saying every product
spectra
has ingredients that it has inside,
yes,
which
provide a unique signature. So what we do is to identify that unique signature, because
put it in a database, so that when you bring this machine, it will have a memory of what the genuine should be like.
And liken this to like when you are typing words on Google, because it has seen you typing the word I, it will suggest and so many things that it suggests, because it's called machine learning. So right now we are talking about big data and how we can use big data to solve community problems. But we have to invest into handheld tools. We have to invest into the capacity to be able to make these detections in real time. Now, we used to do what we call wet chemistry. Nowadays, we no longer do wet chemistry because this has a very high throughput. You can analyze hundreds of samples within an hour.
So this thing can analyze not only honey,
it can
analyze a tire.
Yes.
It can analyze Vaseline.
It can analyze grains. It can analyze moisture content. If you're in a field, you want to know whether all your maize has dried, take this and scan and it will tell you the moisture content, that what the moisture content you want has been reached. So now you can go ahead and harvest.
So where is this machine made? It's made by you in Makerere or where?
No.
Because we are making cars now.
Yes,
so I'm
we
sure
are.
This is so small we can make also.
We are making cars, and Mr. Moanguzi would be very happy to hear this.
Yes, so do you make this in Makerere?
No, this one is an imported tool.
From where?
I think it's called a SCIO, S-C-I.
Because I'm saying manufactured by Consumer Physics.
Consumer Physics, yes.
Incorporated.
But if you are looking for this tool, it's called a SCIO, which is S-I-O. There is a variety of handhelds. It could be what we call Fourier transform, it could be Raman, or it could be what we call the near infrared spectrophotometer. So that is the kind of tools that we need. Unfortunately, in this country, we have very few of them. And this work which I've been doing, I am doing it with collaboration with the government analytical labs. And we are building capacity that has never existed in this country.
One of the biggest interventions that we have on this platform is trace and track technology to fight counterfeits. And I see already that this can be a front runner.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of the track and trace, they have challenges, and they have failed actually to...
Now, this may not be the ultimate solution, okay? But the technology, where technology is heading, this is the way to go. Actually, the phones that, a phone is your office as you know it. Soon it will have an inbuilt infrared spectrometer. So you go to the market and scan a product right there, and then you know whether this product is genuine or fake. And this is very simple. I'll explain it to you in a language that everybody can understand. If, for instance, you spend $100 to buy a Gucci shirt, the cotton that they use is not going to be the same as that one which is being sold at $3. So by collecting enough data about the original Gucci shirt and collecting enough data about the fake Gucci shirt, you can equip either the regulator or the consumer with knowledge that they can use by just a scan in just seconds. This thing takes 3 seconds and you already have a spectrum. Now that spectrum is sent to the database, and then you get a result in
the verification is done there and then.
Yes, because it is
so
comparing.
All these issues we've been having, because one of the biggest problems in fighting counterfeits is differentiation. The genuine looks like the fake. The fake tastes like the genuine. So this, you are saying, is going to limit the confusion. But when does this become accessible?
Okay, let's go back a little bit. If you remember where we started, we said that counterfeit is economically motivated. Rarely will a manufacturer of a fake product try to beat the quality of your product. They try to cut ways,
to go below,
so that they can make quick money. Okay, so that way you can use these tools to distinguish between the two materials, because I have what we call intellectual property, things the counterfeiter does not know. They are trying to do something similar, and in the process these tools can distinguish between the two materials, unless the person who is counterfeiting your product was your employee.
Now they have the trade secrets.
So yes, so but if they don't, it is easy for these handheld tools and benchtop.
So when will this be available?
Equipment.
This tool.
The tool.
Are we going to see it with UNBS? Are we going to see it with customs soon?
Yes, I am working. I'm going to have a workshop and bring together all the stakeholders, show them what this technology can do, and do some bit of training, and we build capacity in this country so that...
These days we have fake people as well, so you can put it on somebody and know whether he's the one.
Now that
probably
is... God's model is perfect. there's no fake human being. We are all God's people.
You can only fake
we
the
are just
identities and all these issues.
We are just bad, but not,
okay. So
not
doctor,
fake.
You see, food fraud or food counterfeiting is responsible for a lot of foodborne diseases. Talk of dysentery, talk of cholera, there is even typhoid, there is even hepatitis E, and so on. And you have come up with a product which is a herbal medicine. Okay? So you're going to talk to us about this product, what it does, tell us why this is different from a lot of herbs we have, and I think we have a lot of fake herbs. So just tell us quickly, what is this? And then we take it from there.
Now, this product is
Made
called...
by you?
Yes, I started I'd started doing research on ulcers, and then found out that a lot of people actually are suffering silently with ulcers, because when I was selling probiotic yogurt, and people were telling me, oh, the doctor told me that I have what we call Helicobacter pylori, or H. pylori as it is commonly called. I need to get it out of my system. So that probiotic yogurt can try and repopulate your gut with very good bacteria, and in the process it kicks
take
out
the bad guys.
Yes, because if you have billions and billions of, it's like if we were attacked by China, we have millions and millions of Chinese army on the border against, maybe we have an army, let me just say, if you have a million and a front line of 1 million Chinese soldiers against, let's say our country has maybe 10,000, the battle is finished.
There'll be no battle.
There will be no battle. I mean, you can't.
So you're saying this ulcer fix, herbal ulcers medicine,
this is like a layer up. First of all, we can clear
what does it have? Just tell us what it has inside. Is this a herb?
I know you're a lawyer, and you know something called intellectual property.
Yes.
There are things I cannot disclose on this show in terms of the content, but I can tell you what it does and how people have given testimonies about this product. But in terms of the content, I think
there's no, because
but I can show you, I can tell you it contains mixed herbs and propolis. Now, how does propolis work? When you have, it's like gum. So you have a wound, you coat it. I'm sure you know that when you have wounds and you take milk, you feel good.
Yeah.
Because the milk coats the wound.
There's a layer that covers.
The same applies to a lot of bee products, by the way, medicinal, including propolis, including bee venom and the like. And in case you didn't know, some of these things can be useful in curing viruses. Originally, it was believed that there is no medicine or treatment for viruses. But research seems to indicate that there are trees that God created and put onto the wilderness that are good at clearing viruses. And we are trying to translate local knowledge into a viable product.
So is this certified by National Drug Authority?
I'm sure, Mr. Muwema, you know the red tape that exists. I'll get there.
It is under
the most important thing right now is to treat people safely, right? And then we can get into the level of certification and getting it.
But you see, we had an issue here with COVID-X, and there was a fight.
And
so we might have another fight with the ulcer fix now.
Well, if I begin making claims, and of course, if you can't put this thing onto the into any pharmacy until you go through. I know the processes, but it costs a lot of money. You have to go
But
through,
I think what you're doing now,
you have to go through the toxicity studies, you have to go through the supervised clinical trials, and I'm sure if we have support from the government, I can provide tons and tons of testimonies from people that have been treated with this medicine successfully, and maybe we create a pressure group so that we can mainstream the
You see
medicine.
what I like about you? Most people in this part of the world, they don't want to be creative, to innovate. And we keep telling people, you don't have to fake somebody's product. Innovate and make your own product. This product can be protected. The trademark can be protected. The patent can be protected. The ingredients can be protected. So this is a good demonstration that actually it's possible to be genuine by doing your own thing. But now, because we have a situation with herbs, we have a lot of herbs. By the way, are herbs, people think herbs are not dangerous. Can herbs also be dangerous?
Absolutely. Herbs.
Are there dangerous herbs?
Yes.
Because it's natural. You know, when they are selling, they say it's natural and it's okay. So you can't get any issue with the
No,
herb.
don't listen to them. They are tree barks we know that are medicinal. Of course, like any other tablet, you know, a certain dose will not heal you, and a certain dose will
So
heal you.
if I take an overdose of herb,
if you take an overdose, it will kill you. Even herbal medicine can damage your liver. It can damage your intestines, and if you
so a herb can kill you actually.
Yes, it can. I would like.
But there are people I see.
I would like to give you an example. There's a tree called the Albizia coriaria.
What is that in local
Uganda
language?
is what we call omugavu.
Omugavu.
It's very useful as a medicinal plant, but extremely toxic.
Omugavu.
Yes. Then there is Wabugia ugandensis.
What is that locally?
That's what we call omukuza nume. Now omukuza nume, if you take a speckle of it and put it in your tongue and bite it, one, it tastes like paper, and two, within the next 2 days your tongue is going to be numbed. That shows you when God was creating some of these trees, he intended for them to be seriously medicine, and that's how they can knock down viruses. That's how they can knock down
so
bacteria.
We actually don't need to be importing viruses. We have the plants here which
No,
can
the
give
plants
virus.
are here. In fact, I can tell you that there are countries like India who are harvesting our herbs and taking them in the tons.
Which herbs are they taking?
And we are sleeping.
Which herbs are they taking?
I don't think I should
Just mention one name.
One
after
of
all.
them is Prunus africanus.
What is that?
Prunus africanus is Luganda, what they call intercessor.
Intercessor. They are taking and making medicine.
And bringing it back and selling to us very expensively. And meanwhile, for us, we are sleeping. So I think we need, as a country, to wake up and realize our potential.
Men with issues, that world root.
Or Mlondo. And they are
is it a herb, by the way?
I think you can call it a nutraceutical.
Is it a herb? Herbal medicine? That root?
I wouldn't classify. I mean, if you're going to eat Mlondo raw, I think you're going to classify it like a food. You eat it like a food.
Does it work? Because this is a shop for genuine things. Tell us.
I think it works for some people, and I think it doesn't work for some other people. But there are herbs that God created in that wilderness that will bring some happiness into your home, especially as you age. You might need to rely on some of these herbs, and that's where we are heading. And some of us have decided to invest some time into looking for solutions, especially for the aged people. And one of them is erectile dysfunction. Another one is the prostate cancer. And I believe prostate cancer is related to cervical cancer, because the woman doesn't have a prostate, but she has cervical cancer. And I think both of these are caused by what we call HPV virus. So if we can give you treatment similar to that of which can get rid of the viruses, in a way we might end up knocking down these cancers, the cervical cancer, and a variety of diseases using these herbs. God created these things, put them for us in the wilderness, and he gave us the brain, because our grandparents have been using these herbs for years.
All the time.
All the time.
But
They
doctor,
did not die.
as we close,
the moment you tell people, this is ulcer fix, it is going to cure, the next thing they are going to tell you, oh, how about its toxicity? Yes, it is going to be toxic, but is it going to heal you? Even Western medicine has what we call side effects. But if the pain is going to go away, and this is not something you're going to take for the whole month, for the whole year, no. Within 30 days, if you take this ulcer fix, you will be free of ulcer fix or your money returned.
So what do you say as we close? Most Africans don't believe in things African.
Well, I think I can solicit.
So if Dr. Kasozi here was...
First of all, I was raised by a man who, the late Lawrence Yoluvega Masaji. He was a very trustworthy man. I'm not going to have a name to protect. So when I begin selling a product, first of all, I'm not selling this bottle, but I'm selling my name. So I stand behind this product entirely.
And that's why you're on this platform.
Yes.
It's viewed by...
Yes. So when you begin talking about the League of Genuines, I want to join the League of Genuines and treat people genuinely, and then they can give testimonies. And then, in fact, there are people that were not fasting for the last 10 or 5 years, but they have taken this medicine. After taking the medicine, they go through that
the gut bacteria stabilizes
and then without feeling the ulcers. So we can put you on a combination treatment. First of all, we give you this medicine, it treats you very well, and then the wounds are healed, the H. pylori is eliminated. Then we put you onto the probiotic to repopulate your gut, and you live a very healthy life.
I'm told we have to close, but because we're dealing with food fraud, there is one thing that I was asked to ask you. What is the difference between food poisoning and poisoning of food?
I think when we talk of poison, let's start with poisoning of food. If you went and added the...
And somebody puts some katua there and you die.
Yeah, and you die. That is called poisoning of food. Or poisoning a person. I would even put it like that. But food poisoning is usually caused by what we call pathogens. And the most common one is salmonella. Salmonella kills. So you eat...
It's some kind of jam.
Yes, it is a jam. So you go to a restaurant and you eat food. After eating food, you go back home and you're feeling the food has been rejected by your stomach. And because you have eaten salmonella, and usually somebody didn't wash their hands when they went to use the bathroom, and that's how the salmonella ends up onto food. So the best thing to do is to avoid eating uncooked foods in a restaurant. By the way, do you know that during the COVID, the first lockdown and the second lockdown, hospitals were almost closing?
Why? They were
people were not getting
people
sick.
Oxygen.
No, those were in specialized hospitals.
But for these other ailments,
these other ailments, I have a stomach problem, because we know diseases are caused by mainly viruses, bacteria, and fungus. So if you are seated in your home, your wife is cooking for you very nice
and you are in
food.
lockdown.
Yes, you are in lockdown. Then even if you don't take probiotic yogurt, your system is clean.
Lockdown was bad for hospitals?
I would think so. There are actually two things that happened during the lockdown. One, the people were not getting sick and were not going to hospital because they were eating very well cooked food, not
at
from
home.
Yes, at home, not from Kafunda. So most of the diseases are actually eaten when you go down.
So we should go back to lockdown.
No. You can never go back to lockdown. But the other thing is because the borders were off the road, the taxis were off the road, and all these
air quality was good.
Air quality improved. And as soon as they opened, the air quality went bad. There is some work which we are doing on air quality, and we have found some trends in the data that indicate that the cars, the borders are actually killing a lot of people with what we call particulate
Doctor, I think
matter
we needed 2 shows.
PM2.5.
Because we've
Those are
exceeded.
things that we need to be worried
We've
about.
we've really exceeded the time. But doctor, I'm now probiotic. Is it called probiotic?
Probiotic, yeah.
And ulcer fix, and liquid gold honey, natural honey. This has really been very interesting, and then we have a tool here to detect. I think first time we're having something like this. But doctor, we thank you so much. We should have had this show more than a year ago, but because of your busy schedule, we could not have the show. We would like to thank you for making the time to enlighten us about food fraud, even food crime. I have learned a new term now. We've been talking to Dr. Gabriel Kasozi, a senior lecturer from the Department of Chemistry, Makerere University. He's a food safety specialist, and he's also a food processor, a manufacturer. He's also a researcher, and he produces a lot of products. We hope that you have been able to learn a thing or two about what you are buying, especially things to do with the yogurt, things to do with the honey. We would like to sign off by thanking you once again for making a date with us every Friday to watch this show. We thank you for liking, sharing, and putting that notification to always watch us. This is the only show on counterfeits and fakes on the planet. We promise to give you more and more useful information that will keep you and your loved ones safe. We sign off by asking you not to be fake and always buy and sell genuine.